It's no secret that our hunt for a manager was, well, a disaster. Eventually, Spurs came to the decision that Nuno was the right guy, but it took us 72 days. But like a lot of fans, I asked the question, is Nuno going to be successful at Spurs? So I've put it to the test using AI, well, as close as I can get to AI in Football Manager, to really see if he can be a success or not in his first season at Spurs. Now, not being funny, if this video works, I think Spurs will have a better idea on how to look for a manager next time, so that hopefully it won't take 72 days. Let's take a look. Okay, so now we're in Nuno's first full season with the breakdown. We're going to start with our league positions by the end of the summer transfer window. So as you can see here, we're currently set down in 10th, only on 10 points. Our win-draw-loss ratio, we've got 2-4-2, which obviously isn't an amazing start to the season, I won't lie. And in fact, we've already been knocked out in the Carabao Cup by Southampton. But we did qualify at the top of the Europa League. Now, it's worth pointing out, of course, we're in the Europa Conference this year because this is based off of last season. We're currently in the Europa League. But in this period, we did sign 2 players. We signed a young Norwegian goalkeeper, 19 years old, called Christopher Clausen. Sorry if I pronounced that wrong, I definitely have butchered that. Looks like we bought him for £4.3 million, but not really an amazing signing. And then our second signing in the summer was Dan Glazer, a 24-year-old Israeli, which, as you can see here, we bought from Maccabi Tel Aviv, but we then loaned him out straight away to Mainz. So again, another signing that we're just not going to use. And then finally, to look at Nuno's tactics so far, you can clearly see he's changed the formation to the sort of 3-4-3 formation that we saw him do at Wolves. But his formation so far is Lloris, Davis, Rodon, Dyer as a back 3, Reguilon and Doherty as the wing backs, Sissoko and Ndombele centre mid, and then Son, Kane, Lucas as the front 3. According to Football Manager, if we were to play 3 at the back, this is what it would have looked like. Okay, so now fast forward a few months and we are now on February 4th. So this has been the end of the January transfer window. And to have a little overview of the Premier League, we have moved up to 4th with 11 wins, 6 draws and 5 losses. We have 39 points. It looks like we may have picked up a bit of better form because we're now in the Champions League spot, which is great. And if we were to look at the other competitions, like I said, we've already got knocked out of the Carabao Cup. We're into the knockout phase of the Europa League and we've been drawn Rangers and also drawn Southampton again in the FA Cup. Also good to note that our top goal scorer at the moment is Heung-min Son on 8 goals, even though Harry Kane's got the highest average rating. Again, just looking at the tactics, nothing's changed in terms of formation. However, there have been a couple changes of players. Alderweireld's back in the team, but one of the weirder things we've noticed is that Højbjerg has dropped to centre back. Now, I don't know about you, but I was not expecting that to happen in this formation, but I'm guessing Football Manager got a bit tired of Dyer and Sanchez as well. And then finally, just to see if we've got any new transfers, you can see right down here, we made one more signing in January, which was Victor Claesson from Krasnodar for 2.1 million. And now finally, for the end of the season, where in Nuno's first season in charge as Spurs manager, we have managed to finish 5th, right outside the Champions League spot by 1 point. Chelsea beat us by 1 point to get the Champions League spot, which hurts a lot, but you can see we finished above Arsenal by 2 points and then above his former team Wolves by 5 points. And all in all, it's not a bad first season, let's be honest. It's kind of where we've been hitting now, and in fact it was better than what we did last season, so can't really complain there. And in fact, we did concede the 3rd least amount of goals out of any teams. However, we only managed to score 50 goals compared to, look at Arsenal, 71. Even Wolves scored 54. For some reason, goal scoring was an issue for us, which I find very hard to believe. But as if it doesn't get any more heartbreaking than that, we actually lost to Wolves on the last day of the season, 1-0, which cost us that Champions League spot. Listen, if there isn't anything more Spursy than that, then I don't know what is. Do you know what I mean? Like, that is unbelievable, losing on the last day against his former team. And I accidentally kind of went too far in the simulation, and it was the start of the next season, so I thought, you know what, I would finish the summer transfers for the beginning of the 21-22 season, and it noted that we actually signed Renato Sanchez for 47 million. Now, I know a few sources were linking us to him in real life, so you never know. Is Football Manager predicting a transfer this summer? Huge move for Youri Tielemans going from Leicester to PSG for 76 million. Now, Lautaro Martinez, a player that we've been linked heavily over the last couple of days, managed to join Man City for 68 million. What? Hold on, I just just realized they actually got one thing right. Jack Grealish from Aston Villa to Man City, they actually predicted correctly for this summer, which is a bit mad, but they got the fee wrong at about 46 mil. Yeah, double that and then add some, and that's the real one. Now I'm just waiting for, like, if Kane ends up signing the new deal and staying, I'm just waiting for Man City to actually sign Lautaro Martinez. If that does happen, I am scared. One season isn't enough. So I simulated Nuno's first season in charge 100 times to try and get more accurate results and see really and truly where we're likely to finish this season, or really if we've got a chance of winning any trophies. Now these 100 simulations took me probably just over 50 hours to do, and it literally takes about 2 seconds to like the video down below, so I could really appreciate it if you press the like button, subscribe if you're new as well. But let's move on to the summary of how the 100 simulations went, starting off with the transfers. So when I started doing the first few simulations, I realized it wasn't quite being as accurate with the transfers because we still had a lot of players at our club, like Bale, like Foyth, like Gazaniga, and so on and so forth. So I ended up tweaking a few of them by maybe like the 5th or so season to make sure that those players are at the clubs that they really would be at the start of this season. But what we noticed by season 9 is that we started to sign Depay every season. Obviously, it's totally unrealistic because he literally just signed for Barcelona. So I then tweaked it on the 12th season to make sure that he fully signed for Barcelona, so we couldn't do that. And then the major thing I noticed is that from season 12 onwards, we were signing Edouard from Celtic and Alan Campbell from Motherwell pretty much every single season. Like, both of them were by far the most transferred in players we had. So it kind of feels like Football Manager isn't quite there in the variety of signings. It seems to want to always sign the same player at the start of every window for certain clubs. Before it was Depay, now it's Edouard. But let me know in the comments if either of those two you'd want us to sign. Now, one player that we kept on signing, which I know for a fact wouldn't happen in real life, although oddly enough, I've seen us linked with him because of Paratici. We actually signed Aaron Ramsey on loan from Juventus 13 of the 100 seasons. Now, I know every Spurs fan out there definitely does not want that to happen. We'll just put that down to a glitch. Some other notable signings which I found a bit strange is that we ended up getting Ferran Torres on loan twice from Man City, and then we also ended up getting Luke Shaw on loan twice from Man United, and also actually then signing Lindelof in one of the seasons. Now, I mean, to be fair, Lindelof is probably one that could actually happen, but Luke Shaw and Ferran Torres never happened in a million years. However, another City player that we seemed to sign on a permanent basis this time was John Stones in 4 of the 100 seasons. I mean, to be fair, with the way he was playing last season, I wouldn't complain if we did that in real life, do you know what I mean? But I'm pretty sure he just penned a new 5-year deal with City. So again, another one not gonna happen. Now, a couple of signings that I thought were quite interesting that we actually only signed once in the 100 simulations was Denayer, Lodi from Atletico Madrid, if that's how you pronounce his name properly, Sula from Bayern Munich. Now, I'll tell you what, I think that could be a great centre-back to buy as well. And then Sabitzer, a player that we've been targeting a lot last summer and in the January, who we've been a lot quiet with this summer. We ended up signing once out of the 100 simulations. But to top it all off on transfers, our most expensive transfer throughout all the simulations was Stuart Dallas from Leeds for 35.5 million. Yeah, so this is where I think the artificial intelligence, or what should I say, Football Manager, isn't quite there in its realism, is that all the fees for these players that we were signing were quite low, and most of them really unrealistic. There were plenty of other kind of lesser known players that there's no point going through. And the fact that Dallas ended up being the most expensive transfer at 35.5 mil, when Stones, I'm pretty sure, cost us only about 17.5, goes to show you how unrealistic it is. So the transfers didn't really work out too well, but now on to how the seasons went. Okay, and now we're on to the overall summary of the whole 100 seasons. Now, just to prove that I'm not just pulling things out of thin air, here is my spreadsheet of all the information that I put in. As you can see, from season 1 all the way down to 100 on whether we won, who got the top goal scorer, did he get sacked, who was his replacement, who won the Premier League, did a Spurs player win the Golden Boot, did we qualify for Champions League, some major transfers, and then also little notes like, did we lose a final to a certain team, or did something really bizarre happen like Arsenal getting relegated. That is the full spreadsheet right here, but luckily for you guys, I summarized a lot of the key points in these graphs I'm about to show you right now. Thanks to Big Mike, my dad, he basically took all the data that I put in and managed to make all these pie charts. So make sure to send him some love for this, because you know I couldn't do this video without him. But here is a very simple bar chart showing our average position, or where we finished the most. As you can clearly see, we finished 5th and 6th the most times, being 26 and 25 times, with our worst place being 12th, where we finished there once, and our best ever finish was 2nd in the league. We never won the Premier League out of 100 times, which was, you know what, quite depressing to think about. On average, our position was 5.87th, so really rounding it up, we finished 6th on average. So you have it there. The AI Football Manager has predicted that Spurs will finish 6th this season under Nuno. Now I'm going to break down every single trophy. Obviously, like I said, starting with the Premier League, unfortunately, out of 100, we won the Premier League 0 times. Moving on to the Europa League, we actually managed to win the Europa League 5 times. However, 4 of them were with Nuno, and 1 of them was without him. That means he would have got sacked, we would have got a new manager, and then they won the Europa League. Basically what we're saying is that this season we've got a 5% chance of winning a European competition, well, the Europa Conference League. Moving on to the FA Cup, which is a trophy I know a lot of our Spurs fans want to win. Exactly the same, we won it 5 times. However, this time we won it 3 times under Nuno, and then twice with a new manager in charge. So again, we've got a 5% chance this season of winning the FA Cup, which, to be honest with you, does not sound great. And then with the League Cup, we actually managed to win it 1 more time. We won it 6 times out of the 100, 5 being with Nuno as our manager, and then 1 time with a different manager. So we have a 6% chance of winning the League Cup. Now this little graph here is a similar pie chart, but this time it's more just saying how many seasons did we actually win a trophy. Now according to this, we actually managed to win a trophy in 15 of the 100 seasons. So we've got a 15% chance of winning any trophy this season. 12 of those being with Nuno, 3 of them with him being sacked and another manager coming in. To be honest with you, I'm really not liking these odds for this season, I can't lie. Finishing 6th and then probably not winning a trophy. Great! So this begs the question, how many times out of the 100 simulations did Nuno get sacked? Now this, to be honest with you, was I think the most shocking part of all of these simulations, in the fact that Nuno got sacked 42% of the time. That's right, in 42 of the 100 simulations, Nuno was sacked by Spurs. And just have a quick look at which managers then succeeded Nuno when he was sacked. We managed to get Allegri once, Ancelotti once, Benitez once, Bielsa ended up joining Spurs 6 times, Laudrup joined Spurs 4 times, Pellegrini joined Spurs 5 times, and then all the other times here, as you can see on this big bar chart, the rest of the 27, I believe that is, was when he got sacked at the end of the season, so there wasn't a replacement. So overall, we managed to win 16 trophies. None of them were Premier League trophies. Nuno got sacked on 42 out of the 100 occasions. We were never relegated, and we finished in the top 10 97 out of 100 times. So according to Football Manager, we're going to get a pretty safe season. The manager might be under fire, but to be honest with you, I think we're making a lot better signings, and the pre-season's looking a lot better than the Football Manager seems to make out anyway. Now, just to go back to the spreadsheet, just to show you some other things very quickly. Finishing above Arsenal ended up being about 50-50 as to whether we'd finished above them or not during the season. And again, the Premier League winners just kept on alternating between Liverpool and Man City, with Man United winning it, I think, about four or 5 times, and I think Chelsea won it once out of the 100 simulations. Champions League qualification didn't look too great out of the 100 simulations. Like I said, with our average position being 6th, a lot of the time we were getting Europa League football. Now, a few painful things did manage to happen. We did lose the Europa League final twice to Arsenal. I believe we also lost to them in the semi-final of a League Cup and an FA Cup. Some other weird things happened, like Wolves finished above Chelsea to get Europa League. Eduardo was top scorer in Europa, and we beat Napoli 3-1 in that final. Another season we lost all of the competitions in the quarter-final, but we did manage to beat Jose Mourinho's Roma 1-0 in the Europa League final, with Kane being the Europa League top goal scorer that season. But anyway, on to the outro. Well, that pretty much wraps it up for this video. If you want to see me do this again, but after the summer transfer window is finished, so we know fully what our squad is, then I'll do the simulations again and try and see if I can get a more accurate reading as to how our season is going to finish. But let me know in the comment section down below if that's something you want to see. But my question is to you now, where do you think we will actually finish this season, and do you think we can actually win any trophies. Let me know in the comment section below. As always, don't forget to subscribe, and I shall see you guys for the next video with Man City coming up this weekend. Come on, you Spurs!